That's cool. At the end, really great insight. People who will be listening till the end, they will get the most benefit from it.
Can I cuss? Fuck dynamic creatives.
Terrible. I agree with you. I hate them.
Like if you have an amazing product that sells really easily, you can scale the ads up like crazy. But if you have a business that the product isn't super hot, that the conversions are off, it doesn't matter how good your ads are, it's not going to work.
Hello to everyone, Anatoliy is here, and today in our new episode of Ecom Business Stream Podcast, we have an awesome guest and actually one of the great friends of mine and just an amazing dude, I would say. Why dude? Because he is so cool, so funny, so professional, and in the same time, all people loves him because who he is. The way how he is running media buying, it's definitely the way how you have to look on it, because he's managing personally over $500,000 a month on advertising even now. But before, he already in the last 10 years spent over $75 million by himself on the paid advertising on different social media platforms such as Facebook and Google. Right now, he's a head coach for media buying in the Powerhouse brand mastermind, and he's helping 7-8 figures earners to scale their businesses, to prepare the business for the exit, and actually helping that through their brokerages, which is calling dealflowbrokerage.com. They are helping really scale and exit for business owners. So let's welcome great friend of mine and just an amazing dude, Matt Malby. What's up, man? How is that going for you today?
It's going good, man. Thanks, Anatoliy. And by the way, you can just call me Malby. No one called me Matt. I don't allow that. So I just have one name and it's Malby.
Actually, I'm always calling you Malby. I decided just be official for the for the podcast, but it's fine. I'm good. So, Malby, bro, I'm really excited to speak with you about the media buying today because you're quite good on it, and plus, done several brands. I know that you scaled 2 brands over multiple 8 figures and several 7 figures brands. So, I really want to hear. Maybe you can mention some names. It's not that important, but I want really to hear from you some kind of guidance for our guys and girls who are now on the multiple 5-6 figures. What they can do with their stores. What AI systems may be logically to use in nowadays, what social media platforms would you prefer, and we'll speak a bit more about strategies and details of media buying. Sounds good?
Cool. Sounds good.
Amazing. So can you just from the beginning, briefly introduce your experience, how you became a media buyer, especially 10 years ago, how it was looking that time, why you jumped into the media buying, and how your life changed since that moment?
Yeah, sure thing. So when I started, I was actually a videographer. I was a camera guy at an event, and it was one of Los's events. And I didn't even know about making money on the internet. So their whole event was how to start an Amazon brand, how to have a digital service business, that kind of stuff. So I'm just the camera guy recording it, and I'm like, holy shit, you can make money on the internet? Like, this is crazy. And so I recorded the events, and then I'd go home, watch the videos, and I started my own Amazon store and stuff. And then, I started working with Los, and I was still just the camera guy. I didn't know anything about ads. I didn't know what ad was. And I kept hearing them talk about Facebook ads. And man, if we had a Facebook ads guy, and, one day I told him, hey, I don't know what a Facebook ad is, but I use Facebook and I, know how to use a computer. So I'm sure I could figure it out. And, then they got me on a Skype call, not even Zoom, a Skype call with someone that knew how to run ads. And the first thing he asked me was if I knew how to edit photos and videos. I was like, yeah, I do all that stuff. He said, and this is something that I find very interesting, is that he's like, oh, cool, I've never met a media buyer that knew how to make photos and videos before. And I remember thinking, isn't that what all of this is? You make photos and videos and put them on the internet. And so and this was, being that it was back in the day, the first ad I made just with basic Photoshop that took 10 minutes, the first ad did 10,000 in 3 days. And they're like, man, you're really good at this. And the ad didn't even have a headline on it because they didn't tell me what a headline was. I just put the image up. It's like, I don't know, I guess it works. But yeah, so that background of photo and video editing allowed me to just do really well in media buying, because if I had an idea, I could just go and create it.
That's true. That's being creative. It's helping you at the beginning to find out how to describe your end goal.
Yeah, and there's something else, thinking about recently, is that I've always referred to myself as a media buyer, but there's a ton of different levels to that. So I buy media, make the creatives, edit the copy. I'll go and fix the page, the tracking if need be. And I always just expected other media buyers to do the same thing, but now I understand that there's different roles where I'm an account strategist. I also help with conversion rate optimization, sometimes the copywriting, the editing, and everything. So the point is that when I think of myself as a media buyer, it's really all of those different roles, and I feel like as a business owner, you should be doing those roles. You should be wearing all of those multiple hats, because at the very least, if you have a business and you're outsourcing things, it's very easy for people to just screw you over and take advantage of you if you don't know what you're looking at. And so you should have that base level of knowledge. And then also with all the tools and AI and everything, it's so easy for you as a business owner to go and create what you have in mind that you think is going to work for your business. And then, go run the ads, put into an Advantage Plus shopping campaign on Facebook, and it's probably going to work. Use ad creatives.ai to make the images. But the point being that if you're a business owner, you should have all these multiple skill sets. You should be able to at a very base level do everything, and then start hiring people out from there. But I bring that up because I've been meeting a ton of media buyers recently, and all they know is media buy. They just know how to click the buttons and go up or down and spend based on the ROAS. They don't know how to do anything else. And if you don't know how to do anything else and you just buy media, you're completely replaceable and irrelevant, especially with automated rules and stuff. You'll just be replaced. But if you have these multiple skill sets and everything, that's really what allows you to get ahead of everybody else.
That's 100% true. I will tell you, from my perspective, I had several students when I was doing mentorship in 2019, 2020, and guys at the beginning of their journey who I was helping with the drop shipping, on that moment, the guys were finding out the winners faster who were most creative one. Really, they were, if they have creativity mindset and they know how to work with the video edits or Photoshop, that was always advanced level of the compared to the regular just students who just has no clue anything about that stuff, and they were just trying to figure out how to press each button on that account. So it's a huge advantage. It's true. And So right now you're still doing the creatives by yourself, or you have a system workflow where it's different people involved? How is that working at the moment? Or you just managing them to make with your vision?
So now I have someone doing the creatives. I'll still go in and do them on occasion. If I'm excited about something or if I'm feeling inspired, I'll just go and make a quick photo ad or video ad or something. But I have an editor now that he's just significantly better than I am, that I'll start editing something and then I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? And I said to him what I have, and then he comes back with something 10 times better. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to stop. You can do that. But yeah, so now I just, tell him, here's the objective, here's the brand we're making the creatives for, here's the assets you have, figure the rest out. And he just does a really good job with that.
Nice, man. Yeah, and that's why we are hiring people who are better than us. I mean, that's the point of that, to being better on what we are doing by hiring the several technical guys who can do much better work than us, and we can focus on the different parts. In your end, it's scaling the advertising. So can you tell me, please, right now you managing over $500,000 a month on the advertising. Is it the brands, coaching, agency ads? What exactly in nowadays you're focused?
It's actually all e-commerce, which sucks because e-commerce is the most difficult, but yeah, it's all e-com.
Nice. Okay, so you're working with the brands, not with the newbie stores, as I know. Share a bit more, if someone is coming to you as a brand owner, they're making, let's say, $50K, they have profitability issues when they come in. I mean, a low profitability, low average order value. What's your steps would be to build the flow? I mean, how would you organize that? And after that, we can speak a bit more about the strategies in media buying.
They're making $50K a month. They're spending, I don't know, probably 10, 20K a month, something along those lines. I mean, at that spend point, it's going to be really a lot of just low budget ad group, ABO stuff, not a lot of CBOs, but low budget testing to find out what's working. Always use post IDs. Can I cuss? Fuck dynamic creatives.
Terrible. I agree with you. I hate them.
It's so bad. They're cool and everything, but what's bad about them is that what you should do is post IDs. So I like to make an ad bin campaign. It's just a storage campaign that never runs. You just make your ads in there, and then you duplicate them out from there. You take the post ID, and I've got ads that have been running for 3-4 years that have thousands and thousands of likes and comments and everything. And as long as the business owner, customer service team is replying to those comments, being that Facebook, I mainly just run like Facebook, Instagram, and then like Google, like fuck TikTok. But with Facebook and Instagram, the longer you build up the engagement over time, the better your ads perform, because they are social platforms. So they give you a boost if your ads have a ton of engagement and everything on them. So with dynamics, you are starting from scratch every time you make a new ad. And even if you duplicate that campaign and carry the engagement over, it's still not the same as having a post that you can run for, years. And so keep that in mind when you're building up these ads. You build them with the intention of them running for years. So always pay attention to discount codes you have in the copy to make sure those discount codes are always going to be active. Any kind of sales pages and stuff you're running to, always make sure that you build your ads from day one with the intention of them like lasting forever.
What will be your steps, like if someone has really low profitability, like let's say margin of the product $20, like what would you do for that to, like, after the audit, understanding the case, what's going to be your steps for launching the first campaigns, what will be the structure, and maybe some optimization in the store of the offer to make sure that it will be increase their profitability, or maybe conversion rate problems, like give some scenario.
So in terms of launching it, so I'd like to do, let's see. So if you're starting off with small budgets and you have untested ads, creatives, copy, and audiences, at that point, I would create a sandbox campaign that's just going to be for your copy and creative testing, and use a stack of interests. So whatever, being that you haven't tested any of this stuff yet, what are the interests that you think your demographic is most likely going to be interested in? And that could be things like the kind of brands that they shop at, the kind of like devices they're using. Just think of what are all these interests that make the most sense for this brand, stack them into one ad set, and just have that ABO be like $5-10 a day. And I would test out the one, if you're trying to do copy and creative testing at once, have one ABO, $5 to $15 budgets, with one ad creative in there with multiple copy headline variations. And so you're going to be doing that across, so let's see. So with that, so the ad sets, those audiences are going to stay the same. And then in each one, you're going to have different creatives, but you're going to have the same copy in all of them. And then after, a week or so, you're going to start seeing specifically there's, 3 or 4 creatives that work really well, and 3 to 4 headline variations across all the ads perform well. And so then once you have those, then you could say, confidently, okay, these kind of creatives work, this kind of copy, this kind of headline works. And then you can, run those ads to individual audiences. So you're going to test with stacked audiences to find the winning creatives and copy. And then when you're actually trying to scale up, you're still going to be doing low budgets. You'll now move to an audience testing campaign with like $10 ad sets with just your top performing ads in there with one interest per ad set.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Before the further steps, it's like a phase 1, phase 2, let's call that. Like you test it out, you move to the testing of separate interest, which is great. In the main campaign of the creative testing, you start testing like more angles or more creatives with the angles which were working well. Correct? Like you add in some creatives to get more variations. When you on this phase number 2 on the campaign with the separate interests, with the post-AD creatives, finding out that it starts giving sales, it's profitable, what criteria are you looking for before going to the step now, phase number 3, and what phase number 3 it means itself?
Good point. So looking at the whole process holistically, so you have the ads, people click the ads, they go to your pages, and then they convert. So on the ad side, if you're cost per clicks, cost per link clicks, forget the all clicks. Cost per link clicks are, anywhere, if you're in the US, it's going to be like $1 to $2, hopefully less. But if you're like, worldwide, Europe and stuff, you're going to have like way less than $1. Point is, you want cheap cost per clicks, and you want high click-through rates of, like anywhere from 2 to 4%. If you aren't hitting those numbers, so they have to be high, because you can't expect them to perform well if they're not high. Now you will have the occasional, ad that has like a 0.6% CTR that just like converts and makes money. Then if it's making money, awesome. But what I'm saying here is that this is the process that you use to determine if something is working or not, if it's not getting sales. If something is getting sales, fuck the clicks, it doesn't matter. But if it's not getting sales, okay, what is the click-through rate? Is it under 2%? Or 1% I'd say is the lowest. If it's under 1 to 2%, because like 4% is amazing. So, 1 to 2%, if it's under that, that's a problem. The ad creatives aren't good. The copy's not good. And so you need to figure that step out. But if your clicks are good and your click-through rates are good, so if your click-through rate is, over 2% and your clicks are under $1, then, and the ads aren't converting, then there's a problem with your page. There's a problem with the product pricing. There's some kind of disconnect there that you need to figure out. That's pretty difficult, especially if you're running, Shopify, you're not running to a landing page or a sales page. Ideally, a sales page would be best using like Gem Pages or Pagefly or something along those lines, and you could, test it better. But if you're just running like ads to a product page, it's really hard to gauge what the problem is. So if your ad stats are good and people are landing on your website and they're not buying, there's something wrong with your page. But with product pages, it's hard to determine what that actual issue is. But that's the overall process. So then if your ads are looking good and the people are getting to your page and they're like adding to cart and initiating checkout and then they're leaving, then there's probably like a price point issue, something along those lines. But just look at the whole picture and see, okay, where are people dropping off? Is it, if the ads are good, getting good clicks, the ads are good. If they're landing on the page and then they're leaving, the page sucks. And then if they're adding to cart and initiating checkout and they're not buying, then it's a price point issue. And so that's the process that you look through to problem solve.
Yeah, it makes sense. Especially funnels about the adding to cart, and it could be price point, it could be shipping cost, it could be loading of the page, the speed of the page. We noticed by the way several times with several stores that speed of the checkout page was really slow. And when we fix it, the adjusting conversion was increased. Okay, so according to by the way, I forget to ask, ad copy, headlines and all this stuff, how do you make that by yourself? You have a copywriter, or you guys now using only ChatGPT? How the process of that creative testing is going for you to make sure that you are exactly on the line with the brand voice, brand mission, and plus hooks for the audience?
So I do it by myself and with ChatGPT. So usually I'll just start writing whatever comes to mind, and then I'll go into ChatGPT and then see what it gives me, and then go from there. But overall, just ChatGPT. It's so strong, you might as well use it.
Can you imagine yourself how you were doing five months ago? I mean, when ChatGPT wasn't around yet, that was taking much more time than now, or was it harder than now, or it was just almost the same, it's just like extra help?
It's kind of the same, just with extra help, but that's because I'm not using it as much as I should be. And that's really the truth of the matter. I'm not using AI to its full potential yet, being that it is it definitely does help a ton with the copy. But once it gets to the point that it can just fully make realistic videos and everything, video ads and stuff, now it could do good with photo ads and stuff. But once it gets to that video point, then I'll start using it more heavily. But currently I just use it for random copy ideas and stuff. But now that I'm getting more familiar with it, in a few months, it's probably going to really speed things up and, allow me to test a lot more. But yeah, I'm honestly just not using it like I should be.
Got it. Yeah, because for us, we start using the ChatGPT in January. It was the game changer in terms of conversion rate on the store. It was over the night, several stores over the night were increasing the conversion rate from low to average, from 1 point something to 2.5, from 2.5 to 4. It was wow, it's something really helpful and time saving for sure. Okay, I that's why I'm wondering how you manage that. I mean, if you utilizing that on the full power or no. And in this case, you move into you find out what's working on phase 2. What's the main KPIs you're looking forward? How many sales? What's CTR is there, cost per click is there, sales are going. So what's you looking on most probably on CPA and the quantity of sales, or ROS? What's the main metrics and what's the minimum main metrics before going to phase 3, and what phase 3 means? Yeah,
so I look at the ROAS and the frequency of sales. And so if phase 3 is the audience testing, then that's going to be, ABOs, $10 per ad set, 1 interest per ad set, and then, $10 budgets. Once it gets so I'll kill it after it's spent usually around 2x the price of the product. So it's not really. So it depends on the if it's a cheap product, if it's a $20 product, then by the time, it spends $40 or $50, kill it. But if it doesn't get any sales, kill it. But if the I was going to say, even if the clicks are good, if the overall, if it's not getting a sale by the time it's spent, usually like double what the product price is, it's trash, move on to the next one. But if you have like a $50 product, then it gets expensive to test, $100 every time. So really, once you're spending $10, if you're spending $10 a day, by the $40 to $50 point, you should get some kind of sale. And that's always been a thing with Facebook, that the more you spend, that doesn't really equate to more sales. Like I had a campaign or an ad set running earlier that was doing well at like $200. It just stopped, and then I just dropped it to 100 this morning, and then it got a sale right after an hour after dropping it to 100. And so that's still a bit like a higher of a budget, but the point is low budgets do better. For some reason, the system just tries harder to get sale when you have lower budgets. And so as just a rule of thumb, if you have the $10 budgets, by the time it spends like $40, $50, if it doesn't have a sale, just pause it. And ideally you'd get a sale before then, and you'll be able to and that's a general like equation. You will be able to start seeing a pattern where, let's say you have like 20 interests running, and you start seeing that the really good ones, they get a sale after the time they spend $20. Okay, moving forward, just kill them after they spend 20. Don't waste the rest of the money by letting them run. And you just kind of build that formula out. And then once those individual interests and those ABOs get usually over like 2 to 3 sales, then I'll just start increasing the budgets 20%. And when I say 20%, it's really like 20% after they're like $50. If they're like $10, I'll go from 10 to 20. And then if they get another sale the next couple of days, I'll go 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. So go up in $10 increments until they hit $50. And then at that point, you can start doing 20%. And the goal with those is to just keep slowly scaling them up until they break, meaning the ROAS drops below whatever you need it to be, which is usually for most brands, it's probably like a 1.2, 1.3. If you once you scale the budget up, let's say you get it to $80 and it goes for 2 or 3 days and it's got either no sales or the ROAS is terrible, drop the budget back down to wherever it was at previously that was performing well, and let it keep running for 2 or 3 more days. If it doesn't perform well, turn it off. And then what I like to do is archive them. So I'll put it on a cost cap, and this is where it gets a bit ridiculous. So I'll put it on a cost cap and then put the budget to 100 to start. But the cost cap is going to be like half of what your CPA is. So if you're getting sales for $30, set the cost cap to 15, and then go into the Facebook rules and set up a rule that if the ad set spent less than $1 yesterday, increase the bid by $1. And what you're doing here is that over time, you're letting it slowly increase the budget up by $1 every day until the ad sets are spending around $1, and then you just leave it there. And either it's going to spend nothing, or it's going to spend a few cents, or it's going to get a sale or two for like a 10x ROAS. And over time, this really builds up the foundation of the account, because you'll have your high budget campaigns that you're scaling with, and those are bringing in the most volume. So they're bringing in sales consistently, but they don't have a good ROAS. Then you have all these little campaigns running, all these little ad sets that are getting really good ROAS, but they're only getting like 1 or 2 sales a day. And that overall in the account like really balances everything else, so that you could have a good overall account ROAS that'll allow you to keep scaling.
It's really like about the cost cap which you mentioned. I never thought about that. It's really cool. So automated rules about if it's not like what is happening, the bid is too low, it just like not spending. So you just like if it haven't spent even one single bucks, you're gonna be put the rule to increase the cost cap for extra $1, correct? On the bid. So it will be increasing the bids until it will be spending. And when it's spending, it start giving you obviously sales because you catch the bid. That's cool. I mean, I never thought about that. Especially when with this attribution problem, it's still gonna be worked out because it's about spend. It's spending or not spending. So this guy, I'm not using automation rules personally because like of the attribution, if you put the rules about ROS or purchases, but at then Facebook doesn't see those purchases, it will be screwed up. But about like this kind of point, it's interesting. Seriously, I never thought about that. It's cool, and maybe I'm even gonna be tested out something on my end because it's not risky. Recent guys, like it's just a bid caps, cost cap in this case, which is like doesn't cost you anything if it's not spending. So you're starting with low, then it is started increasing. What's the budget for that ad set you placed? Daily budget?
$100. So if you are running it at, no matter what you're running it at, when you archive it when you turn it off and then set the cost cap and stuff, put it at $100 and then just go from there. Meaning that if it starts performing well and it starts actually getting sales, then go up to $200 and then $300. It's not going to really spend that full budget. It'll spend $1 to $2 and then one day it'll spend like $20 and get a sale, then it'll go back down to nothing. And so you're going to be increasing the budgets, but don't think it's going to be spending that full budget. Very rarely does it do that. Like I'll start at 100 and then I'll go all the way up to 1,000. And I have a ton of ad sets that even at $1,000 budgets, they're not spending anything, and the bids are slowly, getting increased by $1 every day. And then they'll start getting sales. But even when they start getting sales, the most they'll spend is maybe 10% of that, 10-20% of the $1,000 budget. But yeah, so start off at 100 just to be safe, because yeah, it could get kind of crazy if you put the budgets too high. I wouldn't go over 1,000. I'd between 100 to 1,000.
Yeah, got it, nice. And it's in separate cost caps, gonna be separate campaign for the bids, or you're gonna be just in the same interest campaign, just duplicate it to the cost.
So well, that's the thing. You're not duplicating same campaign. You're not duplicating anything. You are utilizing the ad set that was performing well, then it stopped because it was getting some sales, it had promise, but it just wasn't competitive enough to be running on auto bid in the auction. So by putting the bid on it, it still has the sales and it still knows how to get sales, but you need to put the cost cap on it so that it just sits there waiting and it just like snipers and just gets, the cheap sales when it can. But yeah, so you're not duplicating it. You're just you're using that same exact ad set. And this works also with old campaigns. It's the first thing I do when I go over and take over someone's account. I'll go through and look at all the top of funnel ads in the past, and I'll go and do exactly this. I'll put I'll start off with either depending on any products that are like under $50, I'll start off with 100, but usually I start off with either $500 or $1,000 budgets. And then I do that bid thing just to see what happens. And either it's going to spend nothing or it's going to, get like 4 or 5 sales at like a 2x ROAS. And it's like, cool. But that could be a campaign that was years old that you just turn back on with this approach.
Now I understand why you can run so long the same creatives, because we running as well super old creatives, but sometimes it's a challenge because they dying off. But here is exactly the point. So you just launch you using the same ad set. Instead of killing it, you just like put a Destroids on it, which is like put an auction on the bids. How would you set up the bid in this case? Look, your break even, let's say your CPA or your break even is $30. Yeah. And with $30 CPA, what's going to be your bid starting with? So what bid you would place from the beginning? I
would start off at $15 just to be safe.
Half of
half of it. Okay. With the rules increasing the bid by $1 every day, it'll probably take you 10 days of letting it run by itself until it gets to the point that it's spending. But that's fine, because you can do it manually, but then you have to be in the account watching it, changing the bid. So the easiest way to do it that's hands off is to just set up the $1 a day thing. And yeah, you're cutting the CPA in half with the bid to be safe. If you wanted to spend faster, if your CPA is $30, set it to 20, it'll definitely spend at 20 or most likely, but you're doing it at 15 to be safe because you don't want to be watching it. You want the rules to take over. And one more note with this, so you keep your same strategy of launching new campaigns, testing new ads, all this stuff, but when something stops performing, first off, drop the budget to what the budget was performing at before. And then if it still doesn't do well, then turn it off, put the cost cap on it, and just leave it running. And then go and keep launching other campaigns. So it's all you're doing here is, instead of turning something off that was performing and just forgetting about it forever, you just put it on cost cap and then forget about it. And then just go keep doing what you're doing. And then, look back later and just turn stuff off if it doesn't pick up. But this is just a really good process to be able to continue capturing sales on stuff that used to perform and then stop performing. Because like you were saying with the old ads, it's really I think that's a big reason why people's creatives burn out so fast is, one, because nowadays people use dynamics because that's what Facebook says, the Power 5 and all that bullshit. And then also so they're using dynamics, so they don't have all the engagement on the post IDs, and they're using auto bidding. And auto bidding, it's very difficult to run things profitably for a long time if you're not using cost caps or bid caps. But for some reason, no one talks about it. They're just like, oh, make more creatives. Well, you've got 30 creatives here. You have a lot of juice in these if you put them on, cost cap, but if you put it on auto bidding, you're just going to lose a ton of money.
Yeah, and tell me in this case, like cost caps, you're running that, you forgetting it can, as you said, it can take 10, even maybe more days to start spending. So when it starts spending, it by rule itself, it won't be increasing any more bids itself. It will be stuck on the same bid. It will be just spending, and then you're going to be moving forward and see, should I kill that campaign or should I leave it? If it's giving sales, you're going to be increasing the 20% budget every single day, or even double the budget if it's high ROS. Am I right? Or if it's like not performing, how long you keeping that to let it spend before killing it?
So if it's one that was set to cost cap because it stopped performing, that I'll let the bid keep going. And yeah, like you're saying, it's once it gets to the point that it spent over $1 yesterday, or you could set it to, under a cent or 10 cents. So if it spent less than 10 cents, increase it by $1, that actually might be safer. But once it gets to the point that it is spending a little bit, as long as I see it spending at least a couple cents or $1 a day, I'll just like leave it until it starts getting a sale or starts overspending and underperforming. But I'll have some things that, just run in the background for a month or two and they don't do anything. They spend a couple cents a day and then it'll just get 3 sales. And it's like, cool. But there's 30 of those running. So those little sales happen all over the place. And then in terms of the budget on those, on the cost cap ones, those I just go from like 100 to 200 to 300. So increase those by 100. But if it's an auto bidding campaign that like starts off at $10 or whatever the budget, those increase by 20%.
So if you catch something which is spending a couple of cents, by increasing the budget on the daily budget itself, not on the cost cap, you're gonna be just allowed, here is the bigger room to spend. So it will start spending instead of 10 cents, it will start spending, let's say, $5. Yeah, and it will give you from there. This is where you'll start getting sales, because it's just giving bigger room for Facebook to spend.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, and that can be dangerous, because if you have a $100 budget, if you have a $10 cost cap, $10 cost cap and $100 budget, that if you put the budget to $200, that $10 bid might actually be enough to start spending more. And so when let's see, I don't want to say this, I would leave the rules and let them find the sweet spot of spending a couple dollars a day and getting a sale, then increase the budgets. But if you start increasing the budgets too fast, then the bids are gonna mess up. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm making that super confusing, but the overall point is, the higher your budget is, the lower your bid needs to be. So if I have a $100 ad set, the bid needs to be $20 to spend. If I have a $1,000 ad set, it only needs to be $10 to spend. And so if you increase the budget too much, that it's going to mess everything up. So that's why you just want to, take it slow, let the rules automatically increase the bids and stuff. And then also, if you don't want to do a full dollar, you can do like 25 cents. So for the $1,000 ones, I have it, if it spent less than $1 yesterday, increase the bid by $1. If it spent between $1 to $10, increase the bid by 50 cents. If it's increased it if it spent between $10 to like $25, increase it by 25 cents, and 25 to 50, increase it by 5 cents. But that's because I have like the $1,000 campaigns, because when you have the ad sets, when you have the $1,000 ones, $1 could be a big increase, that bid. And so even I've seen 5 cents where like it won't spend anything, it'll increase to 5 cents and it spends $300. Like, holy shit. So, watch out for those.
You catch the sweet spot. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So more, as I see you starting and working with ABOs all the time, I mean, in these stages, what are you doing with the CBOs? Is there any phase 4 or whatever that is moving to the CBO, the winner one, or you start the winning interest with the winning creatives and start scaling on the high budgets, or like you mostly working with the ABOs?
I mostly work with ABOs, but I do have a couple CBOs that have been running for years. Those are all on cost cap. Those now, the CBOs have $1,000 budget and they have the same exact cost cap rules that we were just saying. But I tend to do ABOs more so just because there's so much more wasted spend with the CBOs. But the CBOs definitely, do work. It just drives me crazy how they just throw money around. Because I like to use a lot of rules, it's a lot easier to have the rules. Oh, by the way, I use Facebook rules to increase the bids, but I use Triple Whale to kill all the ads if they're not performing and stuff. So really, if you have a Shopify store and you're running ads and not using Triple Whale, it's very, very difficult these days. It's pretty much impossible. So yeah, keep that in mind.
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like there's like I think one brand that doesn't use Triple Whale because they're on fucking WooCommerce, and it just like sucks. You can't see where the sales are coming in. It doesn't have like the CAPI, Facebook CAPI and stuff. It's just using browser data, and it's like, cool, we got sales today. Where'd they come from? Who knows? I'm like, fuck, it's awful. But yeah, so with CBOs, those I'll launch CBOs at $100 with anywhere from usually like 4 to 6 ad sets in there. Really, with like, yeah, 4 to 6. And something interesting about CBOs is that launch them at $100, see what's spending. If you have an ad set that is getting some sales, but it's spending too much, it's hogging all the budget, it's like spending $80 and the other ones aren't getting a chance to spend, put a max spend on that ad set and it makes them perform better for some reason. So if it's a $100 budget, I'll do half for the max spend on the ad set that was spending the most, and it'll spend $50 max, but it'll get better sales at a higher ROAS. And so there's something about the CBOs that if you have something that's overspending, just throw max spend on it and they just perform so much better.
Yeah, makes sense. I remember before I was running this kind of rules for the max and minimum spend for CBO, and that was working well. I don't even remember why I stopped doing that, but like right now for me, especially for the lead gen of my agency, which is mostly I'm managing the ads by myself. For the agency leads, it's like CBO, one campaign, one ad set, one ad by ad ID, nothing else. One. Because I tested, I found out what's working for that particular ad account. Mm-hmm. Do you agree that each ad account performing differently?
Oh, it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found out for this ad account, like CBO working the best and structure 1-1-1, and it's like going much better than if I launch the same ABO. So like, okay, that it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense that it's working. So in that case, I'm just saying that really you catch what's working and just keep going the same stuff again and again. And we already like spent around $500,000 on that particular ad account only, and like it's like you just finding out what's working the best. But now I'm actually testing the cost caps there, and it's interesting conversation to discuss, because seriously after this call I will test out a couple of things for the especially old creatives, which is kind of looks like they're dying off, and that could be working out from my end. Let's see. Nice.
Dude, that's super interesting with the one-to-one, the CBOs, because I saw someone doing that, and I've known the guy for a while. He does a lot of lead gen stuff. I'm trying to like relearn how to do lead gen because I've just been doing ecom for the last like 3-4 years, and I saw him doing that, and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, why is it a CBO with one ad set, one ad? Like, just do ABOs in that case. But that's interesting. I'll have to try that out. But you just brought up a really good point that I wanted to bring up, and that is just do whatever works. It doesn't matter what it is. If it works, just do it. For everyone out there that's listening, the best practices are fucking bullshit. They're on Facebook, they're bullshit. On Google especially, they're bullshit. Whatever the reps tell you, all of that is awful. And so a quick story, this is what really helped me get good at scaling. And, a few years ago when we had our first offer that was doing like, I think it was at the time, it was doing like 10K a day. And we're like, super excited. It was amazing. And we would party a lot. So we would, by noon, we would just go out to the pool and just go drink and stuff. And one day I was super hungover and I was like cleaning up the ad account, and it was when the power editor was still a thing. So now they just have the ads manager. Before that, it was the power editor, and then they came out with the ads manager. And so I was like, let me use this ads manager thing since they're going to move over to it. And dude, the power editor, you could launch 1,000 campaigns like that. Nothing. Now with the ads manager, if you try to change a name too fast, it freaks out and the screen freezes. But so I was using the ads manager for the first time. It was still super glitchy, and I deleted a campaign, and I made sure I was like, okay. So I selected the campaign. It was turned off. It was the worst campaign in there. I was just deleting it to remove it. And I hit delete, and I made sure, and I was like, okay, don't fuck anything up. Just delete that one campaign. When I hit the delete button, the little check mark was right here for the campaign. The screen refreshed, and it selected my top performing campaign, deleted it. And I was like, oh my God.
Dude, I had done it before.
and I saw it happen. Like the screen started loading, and I saw the little checkbox. It just moved to the top campaign, deleted the top one. I was like, no fucking way. And I was like, what do I do? And I was like, don't tell anybody, just relaunch the campaign and just figure it out. And so that campaign, it was an ABO, and I was testing lookalikes in there. And so it was 10 different ad sets, one lookalike in each. So it was like purchase lookalikes, 1%, 2%, 3% in each of these 10 ad sets. And so the first campaign that I accidentally deleted, that one, it was the 1% lookalike was doing the best, and the 3% and the 5%. When I duplicated it, I turned everything back on, all the ad sets and stuff. But now, instead of what did I just say, 1, 3, and 5 that were doing the best, now it was 2, 4, and 6. And I was like, wait a minute, this is the same exact campaign that I was running with the same ads, the same audiences. And I was like, oh, this is all bullshit. So I just started duplicating campaigns. Then we had our first $20,000 day. And then I was like, oh, this is great. So then I just started duplicating things across the board. And that's when I realized that all the best practices are bullshit. And all of this is just like a machine. And so then, I mean, obviously it's a machine, but it's a glitchy machine. And so then, this is actually a really good point. So, and then I started doing things in groups in duplicates of 3s, and I still do that in accounts now. If you're starting out, I wouldn't do this, but this happened recently because I stopped duplicating in sets of 3s, meaning that if I'm going to be testing like a new creative or new ad or new audiences, whatever, I would duplicate that ad set 3 times. It's identical, launch at the same time, same budget, and just see what happens. And I used to do that all the time. I'd launch 3, I'd find the best one, turn off the other 2, and then scale that one up. And once again, I stopped doing that just because
during the testing phase.
Yeah,
on the phase
during everything all the time, which is that's when it becomes a problem because you're launching so many things. But at the time, I was launching like 5 campaigns a day. Whatever was doing well that morning, duplicate it 3 times, turn off whatever doesn't get a sale. By the time it spends $20, duplicate it again. I would do that from like, I think 4 or 5 a.m. till like noon. I would just do that all day long. That was the old school way of doing it. But that idea of duplicating in 3s that happened recently in an account where we're testing a ton of creatives, like really high quality stuff, and it was all great. And I was doing 1 ad per ad set, so I was testing the sandbox campaign. When I said earlier, do multiple creatives and headlines, multiple copy and headlines with 1 creative. That's if you're testing copy and headlines. But if I know my one headline work, I'm going to be testing out 1 creative per campaign. 1 creative per ad set. That's how I do it now with like $10, $20 budgets. And the point is I did that with all the ads, and there was one that I duplicated it 3 times and I didn't remove the ads. So I messed up and I didn't mean to duplicate it 3 times, and I did. And the 3rd duplicate did the best, and now spending a few $100s a day profitably. If I didn't duplicate it 3 times, because the first duplicate died, it just didn't.
You'll never find out.
Exactly. I wouldn't have found out that's now the best ad in the account. So since then, I'm like, shit. So now I got to start duplicating things in 3s again. So now I launch in 3s. But once again, if you're just starting out, don't worry about this. This is what, once you start spending a few $100 to $1,000 a day, you want to start testing this stuff out. But there's a lot of times that you have an ad that was a really good ad that it just didn't perform well because Facebook just didn't feel like doing its job that day.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting to ask you about the duplication, because that's what's working. I'm trying to not duplicate, these kind of things about no duplication doesn't work anymore, or whatever. You're killing the best performer by duplicating. And I was like, before it only was duplication for me, always only. But after that I stopped it, I changed the logic because people put that logic in my head. And I stopped doing that. And since I returned it back, I shit. It's just finding for you the new winners. Yeah, the main one could be dying. It's fine. But instead of that, you found during that duplications 3 new, let's say, during the last 5 days, and you scaling them. Now you have new performers in your hands. And that's the point. From 3 duplications, you're not looking for 3 new winners. You're looking at this one, which is going to be taken off, and rest will be killed. So, and after that, another one, every other day, duplicating. And this is where you can get more and more. And plus, if you put some of the really great winners into the cost caps, that's something what you're making really a strong foundation for yourself for the low budget spend and high return. Nice, man. I love that. Obviously we have similar understanding of that kind of things. Tell me please, right now in our days, do you duplicate a lot or mostly vertical scaling?
So I duplicate a lot, and I would say more duplication than vertical scaling. I do both of them. Like I vertically scale things up 20%, all the time. But in terms of duplicating, I don't duplicate the same thing at a higher budget. I've just never had really good results with that. I always start things at a low budget. Like if it's ABOs, $20 to $50 is the most I'll do, and then I'll scale up from there. And then, same thing with CBOs. I'll start off at 100, but yeah, I usually don't duplicate things at a higher budget because it's just never worked for me. Then again, I was talking to this guy recently that he spends literally $3 million a month in one ad account, and he does just ABOs. And each ABO has $1,000 budget, and if that one does well, then he duplicates. So he has one creative per campaign, and in that campaign, he'll have multiple ad sets that have like different targeting or whatever, and then they all have $1,000 budget. If it does well, then he duplicates that at $2,000, and if that does well, $4,000 all the way up to $10,000.
I heard about that kind of duplication, and it's working for him.
Yeah, it's working for him, but that's a very specific business because they have, like he said, they have a sales team that when someone like gets to the checkout page, their sales team calls them. They have 70 salespeople that are calling these people to get them to upsell and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of these like ad tactics that don't work for most people because the other hard part is the actual business itself. Like if you have an amazing product that sells really easily, you can scale the ads up like crazy. But if you have a business that the product isn't super hot, that the conversions are off, it doesn't matter how good your ads are, it's not going to work. And so a lot of people think that like ads are just the magic secret that they're missing, but it's your business. The better your business is, the easier your ads are. And that's why I think a lot of people like guys that run ads for like $100 million companies and stuff, they're just like, oh, I just throw it into a CBO campaign and it just runs. It's like, yeah, dude, no shit. Dude, like you could turn off the ads, and you wouldn't even notice because the company is so big, and they're like, oh, I don't need to do any of that, that crazy different campaigns, account simplification. That's all. It's all bullshit because the better your brand is, the easier the ads are. So you can just have one campaign that's running and it doesn't matter because you don't have to try very hard. And I feel like that just like leads so many people astray that people will be like, oh, I'm going to do that too. I'm just going to have one campaign and, not segment things out and not have different messaging because that's what these big guys do. But you can't think like that.
I find out on my own experience, which wasn't finished good, but you'll understand why. But the thing is that when we start running dropshipping store with the branded products, I said, listen, this won't finish well for you. It was one of our clients. I said, this is not a good idea. But he look, this kind of $9.99 product in the store, $9.99, the margin it's less than $7. Like it's a AirPods case. But the store made in the Friends series, the franchise Friends, Central Park, all the stuff. I mean, the Friends like Jennifer Aniston, like all that stuff. So it's like a franchise. It's a huge Warner Brothers franchise, and all story related to that series, like Friends, and all the items, headphones, phone cases, and so on. He said, yeah, but look, it's like 5, 10, 12 ROS on each headset. It's like $9.99 product, and he's getting like in $5, like 3-5 sales, I'm like, wow, like that's insane. Okay, let's give a shot. And we start running ads, and we were scaling so easy. It was giving us really, because it's so strong franchise that people know around the world, especially in US, like it was so easy to sell. This is what you're saying, that when some product or some brand really well known, you don't need to do anything. You just like increase the budget, duplicate 1,000 times, and you'll be super profitable at the end of the day. And like even losers, you won't feel how they're losing it. And like, but obviously when we scaled it to around 50K in the first months, it was so easy to do that we were just duplicating, increasing the budgets. Obviously, we got a letter from Warner Brothers.
Where's the cease and desist?
Hello, motherfuckers, we catch you. And our store obviously shut down. DMCA claim. I said it will be finished that way. Obviously, I get my cut because it was profitable, super profitable. From $9.99 product, it was like almost 40% profitability.
Wow.
It was insane. It is so, and this is where like I understand the stronger franchise, the stronger brand, then you doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just like audience is super loyal to you, and just show in front of them some nice ad, nothing else you don't need to do, and that's freaking awesome. I really wish to run such kind of brands more, because it was just one time such a strong experience. I realized how easy for Coca-Cola, for Warner Brothers movies, franchises, I mean, this kind of t-shirts, hats, whatever, how easy for them to sell. It's a huge brand, like Marvel. I believe Marvel is the easiest thing to sell. I mean, at least 5 years ago when they were super hot in terms of several series on their end. Like, it's amazing, I mean, but with the average brands and like loyal audience, but not that broad audience, we have always to find out what's working for us. I mean, what's working for you, for me, and being a scientist. We are scientists of our ad account, and that's another thing, you know. Mina, which like our friend Mina from Amazon Space. He said when he was studying Amazon, he went to one of the masterminds and he noticed Amazon rep there, like Facebook rep, and this is exactly example of any kind of platform. He said, oh my God, I saw her, I decided to go in and ask her because she's working on Amazon, she'll give me exactly guidance. So he said, I just jump on her like, hey, I'm Mina, this is the case, listen, I'm doing XYZ, this is how I done, these keywords I removed, these keywords I found out, this is the winners, blah, blah, blah. What would you do? What's gonna be the next steps? She's like, I'm not really a marketer. You can't try this. And this is a Facebook reps. Like they telling you, yeah, just duplicate or scale the budget. Don't duplicate against yourself. Fuck you. Fuck you. Because they are giving such awful advices. Never run ads. And after that you ask, I don't know if you spoke to Facebook reps, but I was asking hey, marketing team, are you running ads by yourself? No, I'm not.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck?
That's the same thing I always ask them too. I always say, oh, so how long have you been running ads? And they're like, oh, I don't do that. Got it. Okay, cool. I'm going to totally fucking listen to you.
And they're pushing to you with this email full of flows like, hey, let's jump on the call. Let's build a marketing strategy for you. It's stupid. It's so weird. But, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. And it's like, for some reason they are doing that and it's still open, that department. So maybe for some local lead gen or something else it's working, I don't know, but it's weird. It's weird, and it's cool that you mentioned that as well.
Yeah, they still primarily outsource to a company called Global Marketing Solutions, but it'll say it at the email, they'll be like Facebook representative, globalmarketingsolutions.com. And it's just a random, people that are just like reading off of a list of what you should do. And Google's the same way until you start speaking with the AGT team, the accelerated growth team. Even then, like some of them, I'd say that they're definitely better, but the Facebook reps, they are just reading off a sheet. They've never even touched an ad account before in their life. You don't even get access to, and I've just heard stories of this, you don't get access into to the real Facebook reps until you're spending at least $1 million a month in one business manager. And then if you're really, really good, then you get the Israelis, because that's where the headquarters of Facebook is, in Tel Aviv. When you're spending a ton of money, you have an amazing offer, they contact you and they say, hey, we'll run your account. They whitelist everything and they just go from there. But like that's like the top echelon is that. And then on the Google side, same thing, the Google reps, the basic ones, they just read off a sheet. And then you have the AGT reps that come in, and the good ones will go in, they'll be like, hey, your campaign's fucked up, do this and this, your settings are messed up. And that's so nice. Like I've got one rep that I talked to that I'm on like 10 different Google accounts right now. And the one rep that I like to talk to, he didn't get assigned to my account. So I just ignore everybody else. And I just send all my emails to him and he texts me and stuff. But I'm like, hey, here's the problem I'm having. And he'll go and look at the campaign, like, oh, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. Where the other ones are like, oh, just turn on auto recommended applies and and just make sure that you're getting enough impressions for your business. Like, bitch, fuck you. Impressions don't mean anything. Oh, and actually, a quick note with Google. So first off, everyone should be doing Google. You should always be running the Meta, Facebook, Instagram stuff, and then Google. And on Google, with your Performance Max campaigns, don't run videos in there. It's terrible. And try making smart shopping PMax campaigns. So, Performance Max they started off, it was smart shopping, and then Facebook or Google also has the Google Display Network, where it's a ton of super cheap traffic. Whenever you go to a website and there's random videos and things, just playing all over the website, that's the Google display. And not many people use it because it's not very profitable. So what Google did, very, very ingenious of them, is they made the Performance Max campaign. Like, hey, we see smart shopping works really well. We're going to force you to use Google Display as well and have no control or visibility into what's actually working or not. And so that's the problem with Performance Max is you'll spend a ton of money on random banner ads on websites that don't actually convert, where the real thing that makes money with the PMax is the smart shopping side of it. And so there used to be a couple workarounds. The only one that works right now, because when you make a Performance Max campaign, if you try to only select the products and don't run the display or the search ads with it, it won't let you. It'll say error, put in text or whatever. If you go to the Google Merchant Center and you go to like the promotions tab in the bottom left, you can make a Performance Max campaign from there. You just hit create, it makes it in your account. It's completely blank. In that blank one, you could then add your products and don't add the search copy and photos. And now it's a smart shopping campaign. And for ecom, those work so much better because they're just trying to sell the products. You could turn off the products in there that aren't working. You can see what's converting and what isn't. And yeah, so if you're doing anything on Google, which you should be, try a smart shopping PMax campaign by creating it first in the Google Merchant Center.
That's awesome insight, especially about the Google Merchant Center itself, to overtake all of that. And I agree with you that when Google start performing, Google takes usually just longer time to optimize, to give you the right audience and all the stuff. But when it starts giving you sales, it's pretty consistent. That's the thing. That's about the goal. You just leave it. It's just maybe it's not that high revenue as Facebook, but in the same time, it's a huge profitability and consistency that you need to always look and be scientists on that account and trying to put like small things like left, right, and change the angle, like to try to not breathe when you're looking on that account because it can be sensitive. That's cool insight. Appreciate it because hopefully people are going to be listening and take that kind of advantage. And seriously, guys, if you are listening this podcast, like there is several small things, especially about the low budget testing. When you are like on the stage where you want to test more creatives, more interest, and especially instead of killing headsets, this is what I want to test it out. To leave them with the big cost caps, that's cool. I really want to see how that would perform on our end because we have so many creatives which we killed, like hundreds of creatives from different stores. We can just turn them on again with the cost caps and see what will happen. Why not? And I highly recommend you to test it out as well. Plus, by the way, after the podcast, you will see under the podcast, you'll see the details of Malby, where you can find him. Feel free to reach out to him and ask questions. I believe he will be able to give you some advices, and they have an amazing media buying team. Maybe you're a good brand for their team to run. I'm not giving any kind of push. I'm just saying that you see the guy has experience and it's very close to what we are doing. But definitely you are a guest on the podcast, so I'm going to be giving shout out to you for sure. And I know that you're doing well. I have last thing to ask you.
Okay, good. Yeah. I have one last thing to add. So if you want to go, actually, let me go first because you know what you're going to ask me and I might forget what I'm thinking. So on the Facebook side, you should be using advantage shopping campaigns. They just came out across the board. They're really, really good.
Just recently.
Yeah, and they... The requirement is $5,000 spent in the account over 28 days. So if you've done that, you'll be able to spend it. The crazy thing, so when we were talking about duplicating earlier, the whole idea of audience overlap and all that, it's bullshit. It's dumb. That's just some other bullshit that they say. I've got, multiple accounts that are targeting the same interest in different campaigns that are spending a few $100s a day that are all profitable and have been for months. And so the audience overlap doesn't matter. But with the advantage shopping campaigns, those, when you launch those, they do well, but they screw up your other campaigns. And so when you launch them, be aware of that. Because when I launched them, I was like, oh, these are doing great. And then a couple of days later, I'm like, why did all my other campaigns stop working? Because the advantage plus shopping it just sucks all the air out of the room. It takes all the sales. So be aware of that. The only time that duplicating multiple campaigns and having the same ads in them is an issue is with advantage plus shopping campaigns. And so What I like to do for that is if I have campaigns that are running with, post IDs that are going to a product page or sales page, whatever, when I make the Advantage Plus shopping campaign, run those through the Facebook shop, like the shop and Instagram ads. That's a different placement. Those do well and they won't compete as hard with your existing ads. And then also try different attribution windows. So usually it's 7-day click or 1-day view. I've noticed if you have all your campaigns in 7-day click or 1-day view and you launch an Advantage Plus shopping with the same 7-day click, 1-day view, it's going to mess up your other campaigns. But if you launch the Advantage Plus shopping in a 1-day click or view, it doesn't hurt the other campaigns as much and it still does well. So yeah, keep that in mind. Advantage Plus shopping is really good, but having the same ads that are in your current campaigns and the same attribution settings into the Advantage Plus shopping, it's going to, mess them up.
It's a great insight, actually, because I need to double check where the campaigns which we start running this kind of Advantage Plus shopping. I haven't checked. I need to check about the old campaigns if it start dying, because we're running that for a couple of weeks now, if I'm not mistaken. And what do you think about just running them on separate ad account?
That's the thing. That's my next test, because what I just told you, I just realized that in the last week, because I saw it, because I launched, I went hard on the Advantage Plus shopping campaigns across the board. And then I was like, and all my accounts are still doing well, but all my other top campaigns, all the cost cap stuff I had, because I had stuff that had $1,000 budgets that were spending a few $100s a day at a 1.5, 2x return, and they just stopped. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I looked at the dates and it was within the same 24 to 48 hours that I launched the Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting the Advantage Plus shopping to get consistent results. And so then maybe after a week or two, when I'm like, okay, I know that these are spending a few $100s a day, they're getting the ROAS that they need, then I'm going to launch another account and see if they compete with each other. And then I'll be able to see clearly that if they were doing well for 2 weeks and then they stopped the same day that I launched them in another account, that's the problem. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think that it's going to be account specific. And another note with the accounts, so you were saying earlier, every account is different. Every account is a snowflake. So every account being the specific ad account, if you have one brand and you have 5 different ad accounts, they're all going to behave differently. And so you can export all your campaigns. You can select them all, export to a CSV, re-upload them into your other account. I used to do this all the time, and testing accounts. And it's something like 1 to 2 out of every 10 accounts is better than the rest. And so there's times that, that I'll go into a brand and everything's kind of doing well. This should be doing better. And I'll make a new ad account and that account performs better than the existing one. There's something about the accounts that they're just, it's completely random which ones are going to do well, which ones aren't. So aside from, every brand is different, every ad account in each brand is different. And so it's going to be interesting to start testing it out with these Advantage Plus shopping campaigns.
That's true. I remember we were scaling with the 8 different ad accounts, and some of the ad accounts were awful. I mean, they were, whatever you're doing, they're always unprofitable. And top 2 or 3 was really great one, a big ad accounts which we were putting the whole attention, and just couple which is average. Okay, cool, it's there, so we continue doing what we have to do, but it's just average numbers. But it's proven me that first of all, we are not competing each other. I mean, each ad account is delivering each own traffic, and plus just performance is different. So that's really where you find out that different ad accounts, different results. And by the way, regarding this shopping campaigns, you duplicating them or you just increasing the budget on them?
Those mainly increasing the budget. I'll start off with $100 and then increase it by $100 every day or two if it's going well. With the duplicating it, when you duplicate it, if they have the same ads in both of those accounts or campaigns, it's going to be a problem. They do compete with each other. With the Advantage Plus shopping, it's weird. So that's why I like to, if I'm going to duplicate it, if one was on 7-day click or 1-day view, duplicate it to a 1-day click or 1-day view, or duplicate it and instead of using the ads going to a page, use either different creatives or have it go to the same creatives with the shop ads to try to, change it up. But yeah, so that's the only situation where duplicating it and having the same exact campaign becomes a problem.
Okay, that's cool. At the end, really great insight. People who will be listening till the end, they will get the most benefit from it.
Yeah. One more with that. So when I first started launching these, I was doing, $100 budgets with the top 4 or 5 ads. And then I was seeing, okay, there's one ad that's getting a better ROAS, but the other one's getting more spend. Let me try to break them up into multiple campaigns. Multiple campaigns is performing worse. So this is one of the situations where you're better off just having one higher budget Advantage Plus shopping campaign and throwing all of your creatives into there and just letting it figure itself out. So it's weird. This is literally the only like campaign type that they made in years that it's doing what they said it would. You don't have as many options, but it will find new buyers and, just give it the ads and let it figure itself out. They always say that and it never works. This is the one time it actually does work. There was just something else I was going to say and I lost it. Yeah, I don't know.
I love the media buying conversations because like we can speak hours. I mean, there is so much fun. There is so much things which is working, not working, or just like, small tactics, which is really could change the game of the advertising for each individual person. But definitely this was the powerful conversation because it was simple, easy steps which you can implement on your end by running the testing campaigns or even scaling campaigns on the low budgets to find out what's working the best before spending a lot of cash from your end. And plus it's like a slow but steady steps of getting but profitable results with the cost caps, which Malby just described at the beginning of the podcast. It's awesome. And I'm looking forward to hear more about the shopping campaign. Maybe like in the matter of like 5-6 months, we can record another podcast and hear more about like AI, especially Malby now is just mentioned that he's studying AI. Soon it will be in Powerhouse, the AI event about how to implement AI in the brands. So most probably he'll get something from it, and later on it could be powerful to discuss like what has been changed from that moment, because definitely like more and more we're moving forward in the kind of AI implementation on the advertising. I believe there is going to be even like AI running ads for us, optimizing ads for us later on. we don't know that yet, but it looks like we go in that direction, and which is make us excited. And at the end, as always, I'm asking all my guests one question and would like to hear your opinion as well, because every single one answering, or even if they give the same or variation of the answer, they give their own opinion, which is giving completely unique answer. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what would you choose? The journey or end result?
Oh, the journey for sure. But I love the journey. Like I'm a workaholic. And so I like building things, creating things. And then every time I achieve a new goal that I had, then it's like, all right, what's the next goal? So yeah, no, the journey for sure.
Nice. Short and sharp, because like, as you said, you're workaholic. I love that because sometimes I'm calling to my wife myself that way. Like, come on, this is who I am. Stop it. I love to spend hours on doing something on the laptop. Cool, man.
So,
Malby, I really appreciate.
One last thing, actually, I did an online event like 2 months ago or something. And I walked through the whole process of the low budgets, the audience testing, all that stuff. So I'll send that over to you, and then you could put it into the podcast links. But for anyone that wanted specifics on how to do all that stuff, it's in a full presentation.
It's amazing, actually. That would be great. Definitely share with us, and we'll put it under the podcast, so guys and girls will be able to watch it to know more about all your skills. That's awesome, bro. Let's do that. Okay, so girls and guys, like who was on our podcast and stay till the end, you got in the last 10 minutes a lot of golden nuggets about the Google shopping, Facebook shopping campaigns. Like there is so much in the last 10 minutes, which is like, it just benefits for people who decided to stay till the end. Malby, I really appreciate for being here with us and just providing all your knowledge and all the skills. Thank you for your time, and speak to you on the next one. Thank you for everyone.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.